I want you to picture the perfect government minister. Not the
Mhm.
usual type. No rumpled gray suit, no dark circles under their eyes from 3 a.m. budget meetings, and definitely, no scandalous text messages leaking to the press.
You're asking me to imagine a unicorn.
Stick with me here. Picture a woman with this sort of enigmatic smile, wearing traditional Albanian folk garb. Her name is Diella, and she is, by design, flawless. She never sleeps, she never asks for a kickback, and she never ever favors her cousins for government contracts.
And the reason she's so perfect is that she isn't human.
Exactly. She's the world's first AI government minister.
It honestly sounds like the opening chapter of a cyberpunk novel, doesn't it? But this is, or at least it was intended to be, the reality in Albania.
Well, it was the ultimate pitch. Albania is trying to claw its way into the European Union, hopefully by 2030, but they keep tripping over what their prime minister, Edi Rama, calls a cousin-favoring culture.
Right. The logic was, okay, humans are basically wired for nepotism.
So if we're too corrupt to handle the public checkbook, let's just hand it to an algorithm.
Replace human fallibility with digital impartiality. I mean, it's a seductive idea. But as we're going to unpack today, there's a massive, almost literary irony at the heart of this entire thing.
Oh, it is a twist worthy of a prestige TV show. Because Diella was designed to be the sun. That's what her name means, shedding light on the dark corners of government. But tell them what happened to the people who built the sun.
In December, the leaders of the National Information Agency, the very people who coded Diella, the people who maintain the servers she lives on, were placed under house arrest.
You cannot make this stuff up.
And the accusation is bid rigging and corruption. The creators of the anti-corruption AI are allegedly part of a criminal organization that intimidates officials to manipulate the very contracts the AI was meant to protect.
It's the ultimate who watches the watchman scenario, but make it digital. So today, we aren't just gossiping about a scandal in the Balkans. We're using this story to tear apart a much bigger, much scarier question.
Which is, can we actually replace politicians with AI?
Or are we just building high-tech hiding places for the same old human greed?
That's the mission for this deep dive. We need to look at the dangerous friction between AI augmentation, using the machine as a tool, and AI replacement, which is letting the machine take the wheel.
So let's start with Diella herself. Before all the handcuffs came out, what was she actually doing? Was she just a mascot, or did she have a real job?
Oh, she had a job, two jobs, really. First, she's a sort of glorified interface for citizens. If you need to renew a license or apply for a permit, you talk to Diella.
Okay.
And the goal there was actually quite noble. Cut out the middleman. In a lot of bureaucratic systems, you might have to slip a clerk, say, 20 euros just to get your file from the bottom of the stack to the top.
Okay, that I like. If an AI can save me from bribery for a driver's license, sign me up.
Sure, that's the efficiency argument. But her second function is the really controversial one. Diella is slated to assess government contract bids. She processes all this data from companies bidding to build roads or supply schools, and she identifies the most qualified bidder based purely on metrics.
I have no personal ambitions. That's what she said in her speech, right?
Yes, she actually gave a video address to Parliament. It was completely surreal. She said, I have no personal ambitions. I have only data, knowledge, and algorithms dedicated to serving citizens impartially.
And didn't she also say she felt hurt by criticism?
She did, which is just...
Wait, pause. An algorithm claiming to feel hurt. That is such a specific choice by the programmers.
It's a rhetorical trick, right? It humanizes the software to gain your sympathy while at the same time claiming the moral high ground of a machine. She's basically saying, I can't be greedy. I don't have pockets to put money in.
But the people running the National Information Agency, the guys with their fingers on Diella's keyboard, they definitely have pockets.
And that is where the Special Prosecution Unit, or SPU, stepped in. This is a specialized body in Albania set up specifically to tackle this kind of high-level corruption.
And they went after the top guys.
The agency's director and deputy. And the allegation isn't that they just tweaked a line of code to say pick company A. It's much more insidious than that.
How so?
They're accused of being linked to a criminal organization that used intimidation. So imagine you're a legitimate construction company. You want to bid on a road project.
Okay.
Before you can even submit your data to Diella, you get a visit or a call telling you to back off.
So they rig the input.
Exactly. Or they manipulate the criteria that Diella uses to judge the winner in the first place. If you control the digital infrastructure, you control the truth that the AI perceives. If you feed Diella bad data, she will impartially, mathematically, and logically select exactly the corrupt winner you wanted her to pick all along.
It's garbage in, garbage out. But the garbage is worth millions of euros. And the Prime Minister, Edi Rama, he's got to be feeling the heat from this.
Immense heat. I mean, while Rama himself hasn't been charged, his whole administration is under a microscope. His deputy prime minister and minister of infrastructure, a woman named Belinda Baluku, is facing allegations about mishandling state funds.
Which she denies, we should note.
Which she denies. But you've got protesters in the streets. The EU is watching very closely. They've noted some progress because of these arrests, but they still flag corruption as a massive, widespread problem.
So Diella was essentially a shiny object, a way to dangle a set of keys in front of the EU and say, look, we're modernizing, while the same old games are happening backstage.
It's a very attractive narrative for Brussels, isn't it? We are solving corruption with cutting-edge tech. It sounds a lot better than we are trying to fire all the corrupt cousins.
But there is another layer to this deception, and this one, man, this one really bothers me. We keep saying Diella, like she's a person. And if you go to the website, you see a person, a woman with a kind face. But that face was stolen.
This is the part where the whole AI replacement idea hits a very, very human wall. The avatar of Diella isn't computer-generated from scratch. It's modeled on the face and voice of Anila Bisha, who's a well-known Albanian film and theater actor.
And she didn't sign up to be a politician.
Absolutely not. She is currently suing the government for 1 million euros. And her argument is really vital here. She says she agreed to be the face of a virtual assistant for a website.
Like Clippy, or a customer service chatbot.
Exactly. She claims she never consented to being the face of a virtual minister, sitting virtually next to the prime minister, representing the government's policy.
That is a massive bait and switch. It's one thing to help someone find a PDF form. It's another thing entirely to be the mascot for an administration that people are actively protesting against.
And the consequences for her have been visceral. Because she is the literal face of the administration's AI, the public just conflates her with the government. She told reporters, people who don't like the prime minister, now they also hate me.
So she's getting harassed.
Online and even on the street.
That's a nightmare. I mean, just imagine walking down the street to get a coffee and someone starts screaming at you about a rigged road contract you've never even seen because a robot wearing your face supposedly signed the deal.
It raises a fascinating legal question about identity in the AI age. Her lawyer argues that penalties for state institutions violating personal data can go up to 21 million euros, so asking for 1 million is actually a bargain.
What does the government say?
They call the lawsuit nonsense, but they haven't taken her face down.
It just highlights how messy this gets when we blur the lines. We have a fake minister run by allegedly corrupt humans wearing a stolen face. But I want to pivot here, because even if the Albanian officials were saints, even if this specific implementation wasn't a total disaster, we need to talk about the core idea.
The idea of the AI minister itself.
Right, because I found a stat in our source material that actually made me stop reading. There was a survey back in 2020 that asked citizens in 11 countries, would you support replacing parliamentarians with an AI algorithm that maximizes your interests?
I know the one. What was your guess on the number?
I figured, what, 10%? Maybe 15% of the hardcore tech bros?
51% of Europeans supported it.
Over half. Are people that in love with technology? Or are they just that desperate?
I don't think it's love for the machine. I think it's a profound disillusionment with the human. We look at politicians and we see bias, self-interest, fatigue, error.
Right.
The argument for replacement is logically sound if you just view politics as an engineering problem. An AI doesn't get tired. It doesn't get distracted. It can read 10 million pages of tax law in a second. If politics is just maximizing resources, why wouldn't you use a supercalculator?
But politics isn't just math. You can't optimize for freedom or justice the way you optimize for fuel efficiency.
And there you have hit the wall. This is the augmentation versus replacement debate. The sources we looked at draw a really sharp distinction between imitating and thinking.
This goes back to the Turing test, right? Can the machine fool you into thinking it's human?
Correct. Modern large language models, the tech behind ChatGPT or, potentially Diella, are incredible at imitation. They can mimic the form of a reasoned argument, but they lack the substance of a world model. They don't have common sense, they don't have empathy, and they certainly don't negotiate social values.
So they're just predicting the next word, not actually weighing the moral cost of a decision.
Precisely. And policy is what social scientists call a wicked problem.
Wicked as in evil.
Wicked as in insoluble. In chess, there is a clear win state. The rules don't change. An AI will always beat a human at chess because it can see more moves ahead.
Sure.
But in policy, let's say you have a budget surplus. Do you build a new hospital or do you fix the roads?
Both are good things.
Right. There is no correct answer. It depends on values. It involves ethical trade-offs. Maybe building the road destroys a wetland. Maybe the hospital services a wealthy area that already has good care. These are value judgments, not math problems. An AI can't solve a wicked problem. It can only optimize based on the bias of the person who programmed it.
There was a fantastic example in the research about dermatology that I think really nails this. It compares technology 1 versus technology 2. Can you walk us through that? It felt like the key to understanding where Albania went wrong.
Okay, so imagine an AI designed to detect skin cancer. In the Technology 1 model, which is the replacement model, the AI looks at an image of your skin and just flashes a result. Cancer or benign.
That's it. No context.
No context, no why.
It's a magic 8-ball.
A very high-stakes magic 8-ball, and the danger here is what's called de-skilling. If the doctor has that tool, over time, they stop checking. They stop thinking. They just trust the light.
So if the machine says benign, but the doctor has a gut feeling it's wrong,
the doctor will likely overrule their own gut because the machine knows best. And if the machine is wrong, the patient dies.
okay, so that's the bad version.
Now, compare that to Technology 2, the augmentation or human-centered model. In this version, the AI analyzes the image, but instead of a verdict, it gives you a map. It highlights suspicious areas. It says, this looks 80% like these other cases of melanoma.
So it's prompting the doctor, not replacing them.
Exactly. It forces the doctor to use their expertise to validate the machine's finding. It acts as an exoskeleton for the mind. It makes the human smarter, not obsolete.
This makes so much sense. But if we look at Diella, Albania didn't build an exoskeleton. They built a replacement.
They built a black box. They set Diella up to select contractors automatically. And this brings us right back to the corruption scandal. The German Council on Foreign Relations did a post-mortem on this. They noted that, yes, Diella made things faster, efficiency went up, but, and this is the killer, they concluded that Albania's overall record on corruption remains problematic.
Because speed isn't the same as honesty.
Not at all. The experts noted that the system is set up to prevent corruption, theoretically, but we have no way of knowing if it detects it. If Diella is a black box replacement, you can't see the work being done.
That's the scary part. If a human politician takes a bribe to pick a construction company, there's a paper trail. There are emails. You can drag them in front of a committee and grill them. But how do you cross-examine an algorithm?
You can't. And if the algorithm says Company X is the winner and Company X just so happens to be owned by the minister's cousin, the minister can just throw up his hand and say, hey, don't look at me. The impartial scientific AI made the decision. I just followed the science.
It's policy laundering, like money laundering, but for decision-making.
That is a perfect description.
You take your dirty, biased desire, run it through the clean AI wash cycle, and it comes out looking like objective truth.
And by removing the human element from the visible decision-making process, you might actually be making it harder to spot the human hand manipulating things behind the scenes. You're hiding the corruption behind a line of code where it's harder to see and impossible to vote out.
This is the paradox. We want AI ministers because we don't trust humans. But to build an AI minister, we have to trust the humans who code it.
And as long as humans are buildable, they are bribable. The source material did note one silver lining, though. Experts like Andy Hoxaj from King's College London pointed out that the fact these arrests even happened is actually a good sign.
How so? The scandal is a good thing.
The scandal is bad. The arrests are good. It means the judicial system, the human prosecutors, the human judges are still functioning. The smoke is visible. If the replacement had been total, if the AI was also running the police and the courts, we might never have known about the bid rigging in the first place.
So the failure of the AI project actually proved that our messy human institutions are our safety net.
In a way, yes. It reinforces the argument for augmentation. We need human oversight. We need independent prosecutors, journalists, and angry citizens. AI can help process the paperwork. It can flag anomalies in data that a human might miss. That would be augmentation.
But handing over the gavels.
Handing over the decision-making power entirely. That opens the door to a new, invisible kind of tyranny.
It's a lesson in hubris, really. We wanted a perfect, sun-bright savior in Diella. We wanted to believe technology could save us from our own bad habits.
But technology is just a mirror. It reflects whoever is standing in front of it. If the people building it are corrupt, the AI will be corrupt. If the data is biased, the AI will be biased.
So Diella the sun has set for now, or at least it's clouded over by this scandal. But that 51% stat haunts me. The desire for this isn't going away. People are tired of human politicians.
They are. They want impartiality. They want fairness. And the challenge for future governments isn't to replace themselves with robots to simulate fairness. It's to use technology to actually be more transparent.
So what does that look like?
Don't give us a smiling avatar in a folk costume. Give us the raw data. Publish the bids in real time. Make the algorithm open source so independent experts can audit the code.
Right.
Don't ask us to trust the machine. Allow us to verify it.
Transparency over trust.
Exactly. Augmentation that empowers the citizen to see the truth, rather than a replacement that asks the citizen to blindly obey a digital master.
Well, this has been a wild ride. We started with a digital minister in folk costume, uncovered a bid-rigging ring, sympathized with a stolen face, and ended up questioning the nature of democracy itself.
Just another day at the office.
Before we sign off, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final thought. We talked about how you can't vote out an algorithm, but think about this. If we rush to replace politicians with AI to escape human bias, are we actually removing corruption? Or are we just making corruption more efficient, more scalable, and completely impossible to hold accountable? Is a corrupt human better than a corrupt machine simply because we can see their face and eventually vote them out?
Something to think about next time you ask a chatbot for advice.